interaction with business started with my grandfather. My grandfather came from a very wealthy family in a small town called Bhilwara. And he married into an even wealthier family. They were probably amongst the 7-8 wealthiest people in the country. And the story goes that his marriage took about 9 months. They all traveled in Belgadi from Bhilwara to Jaisalmer. He got married in Jaisalmer. And they stayed there for 4 months. They were entertained by my grandmother's family. And they came back. But the story is that he was a hopeless businessman. He failed at every business he did. So he, from a very, very wealthy person, of very, very wealthy family, our family became, not so wealthy. And my father had to really figure out what he wanted to do with his life because there was no business to inherit. So he started studying, and he was a very good student, and he, did very well in his studies, went to Banaras Hindu University, became a lawyer, and became a professional. He was a professional lawyer. And he then moved into politics and was in the first cabinet in Rajasthan. He was the industries minister. And when he developed Kota, what it is, a lot of it is due to my father. And my father, when we were growing up, used to tell us, business kabhi mat karna, क्योंकि इसमें उधार लेना पड़ता है और इसमें बेईमानी करनी पड़ती है. Do all of you understand Hindi? उधार लेना, you have to take money from somebody else and you have to cheat. So business kabhi mat karna. And the other thing he used to say is that in my thinking, the highest form of human existence is that of a creator. Creative चीज करो कुछ, because वो भगवान का रूप है. भगवान, God has created something. So if you can create something, create. If you cannot create something, उसको propagate करो. जो कोई create करता है उसको propagate करो. The Brahmins were at the high society. Why? Because they didn't create, but they propagated God. So he had his own thinking, own philosophy. He was just the most outstanding person. So we grew up in an environment where we were constantly thinking कि हमको पढ़ना है. And he had 6 sons and a daughter, and he educated all of us, everybody, but none of them went into business. All 6 were professionals. 2 of my brothers are doctors. My sister got married to a doctor too, so she also went into a doctor family. 3 of us are engineers, and one of them is a lawyer, politician, who also later on went and became a minister in the government. So his philosophy was business nahi karna. Now we grew up with that. I grew up with that. So when I graduated from IIT and IIM, I realized that the best thing for me to do is to take up a job. And I joined Hindustan Lever, worked at Hindustan Lever for 12 years, all the time in sales and marketing, moving from one thing to the other. But it was an outstanding company because it taught me a lot about how do you sell, how do you market yourself. And the other thing it taught me is that business is about teamwork. You can't do it yourself. And I was extraordinarily lucky. I had colleagues around me who were very, very talented. There were people who used to work for me, who used to think no end of the company. And we used to treat the company as if we owned it. It was our company. There was an enormous amount of pride in working for the company, and enormous amount of camaraderie. For example, if I tell you that almost every day we used to go to each other's homes. At least twice a week, we used to spend 5-6 hours with each other in their homes. We were just very, very good friends. It helped that all of us were from similar backgrounds. We were all engineers and we were all management graduates, so we used to think alike. But our wives became very good friends, and it led to a network where even today my best friends come from that particular period. I worked there for 12 years and learned about how do you sell and market. And then when Pepsi came to India, I was their first employee, so I started Pepsi in India. You know, what Pepsi taught me was how to really be an entrepreneur, because there was no shortage of money. I could do what I wanted. I had a blank check. I could spend money the way I wanted it. In fact, one of the commercials, the first advertising commercial Pepsi made, was the highest money ever spent by any commercial in that particular year. We spent 75 lakh of rupees to make a commercial 35 years ago. You know, so it was just very, very lavish. And we built a business, but what they were constantly at is that build the business. By that they meant that build customers, build consumers, build bottlers. And don't worry about how much money you spend, because we have such enormous faith in our business that one day it will pay back. And they had a formula. They used to execute that formula in every single country, and that's how it happened. Now in India, Pepsi have taken a very large bet. They'd spent billions of dollars trying to build a business. After India, I got transferred to Africa. And their thinking about Africa was diametrically opposite to their thinking about India. They didn't want to spend any money in Africa. And you know, we started a business there, but we were constantly short of money. And there was a time when I remember I was in Johannesburg, and my daughter, she reminded me this morning about this instant, so I'll tell you this instant. That she was 11-year-old, and I was she's 33 now. I was in Johannesburg, and I was standing beside a fax machine because I had just sent a note to my head office saying that things are very bad. We don't have any money. We have not paid salaries of people for this particular month, and they're not going to get better in the next 6 months unless you fund this operation. I wrote a very cogent argument for funding the operation. And I was absolutely convinced that I will get a letter from them saying that, we don't need your services. And I told her that, and I told her that, Radhika, you never work for anybody. Kabhi kisi ke liye naukri mat karna. So, look at the generation. My grandfather was a failed businessman. My father said, don't ever do business. And I am telling my daughter, do stand on your own feet, don't work for anybody. So every generation, I think, revolts against what they see as the failing of the previous generation to a certain extent. Having said that, things went better in Africa. We finally got the money, and we built a good business. And then, so in Pepsi, what Pepsi taught me is how to really build a business, how to with whatever resources you have, what do you do and how do you build a business? And then my children went away to America to study. We were just ourselves. And I decided that I didn't want to live outside India. We had lived in Budapest, we lived in Johannesburg, we lived in Manila. We said we want to come back to India because that's what our country is. So we came back to India, and I joined Bennett Coleman, publishers of Times of India and Radio Mirchi and Times Now. And after a couple of years, I became the head of the business for all our businesses. And what Bennett Coleman taught me is really how to deal with tremendous amount of uncertainty all around. First of all, I had about 1,400 editors who were very creative people, but very sort of full of themselves, kind of people reporting into me. I had two brothers who never looked at how the business was doing. They just never bothered about what was the turnover, what was the profit. They said, "Aapka kaam hai, dekh lega." And both were they were not engaged in the business as deeply as I was. And but it taught me how to deal with complex situations. If we ever wrote an article, if our paper ever wrote an article, it was bound to affect a big industrialist or a big politicians. And I was constantly in the firing line of trying to see that there are no there are no lawsuits against us, that we were fair and honest in what we did, that we were, we dealt with ambiguity and uncertainty properly, that we did the best that we possibly could, and we built a very good business. The business grew many folds and became very profitable. It's probably one of the world's leading media companies today. So it also helped me grow up as a person. Whilst I was doing that, whilst I was working for Bennett Coleman, what I started doing is I started planning my life after retirement. So when I was about 55, 56, I started saying to myself that one day I'm going to retire. The retirement age incidentally was 58, but they won't let me retire till I was 62. So we kept on postponing this. But what it taught me is that I must prepare myself. And so how did I prepare myself? I said, listen, I need a certain amount of money to live well. I had a lifestyle which I wanted to not dilute. I said, I want a certain amount of money to live well. So let me figure out how do I first get hold of that amount of money. And I got that money because I worked for many years. I was well paid. So, I put that money aside. I said, this is the money that will help me live well, me and my wife live well in retirement. We'd educated our kids, but we felt a lot more responsible. We felt that we needed to settle them down. So I said, abhi inko settle karne mein what is required. So, but they were still studying, they had not come back they had not figured out what to do. So we said that, okay, when the time comes, we'll invest in what the kids want to do. But what I started doing is started putting a little bit of money with my friends. All the friends who had worked with me in Hindustan Lever, worked with me in Pepsi, some of them had started their own businesses. So to give you an example, there was a friend of mine. We have 4 friends actually. One lives in Australia. He was a couple of years senior to me in IIT Kanpur. And he has a very successful business in Australia. He runs he has an oil plant, probably one of the best in the world, cooking oil plant. And he also owns a very large olive orchard, again the largest independent olive orchard in the world. So I put in a little bit of money with DD Saxena. Then I had another friend called Abhiram Seth, who started a very innovative business whilst he was in Pepsi, which makes carrageenan and natural fertilizer. What it does is it goes out into the sea, collects seaweed. Seaweed takes about 6 weeks to grow, brings the seaweed in, and we then crush the seaweed because it is wet. We crush the seaweed, and out of the dried seaweed we make carrageenan, and out of the crushed thing we made natural fertilizer. So he started that about 7-8 years ago. In fact, I was instrumental in doing that. He wanted to retire. So I went to Pepsi and told them that, listen, you are not interested in this business. तुमको सीवीड से क्या लेना है? Export सब तुम्हारा हो गया है, तो तुम इसको अभिराम को बेच दो. And because they had a regard for me, they sold the business to Abhiram, and I took a little bit of equity in that business. That business is very recently is just being sold to IFCO. It is a fantastic operation. And what it does, it coats calcium and it supplements fertilizers. So you can reduce a fertilizer by 25% and add a bit of seaweed, and it regenerates the soil, and it's a natural fertilizer. So I put in a little bit of money in him. We started. We have a 100-acre vineyard outside Bangalore. So I put in a money, again the same friends, DD Saxena, Abhiram Seth, I put in a little bit of money there. And all the high-end wines that you drink in India, which is Sula, Santuri or Grovers, they are made from the wines that we do. from the grapes that we grew. So I started doing this a little bit, put a bit of money here. By that time, my children had become older. My daughter, after working for a couple of years, came back to India and said, I don't want to work for anybody now, and I want to start up my own business. So my son and daughter got together, and they started a series of small businesses. Small restaurants, they have about 5 restaurants in Delhi now. Small restaurants, there is no debt, it's totally funded by me because I don't, again, it's an old mindset, I don't want to take anybody's obligation. And they've started these over the last 4 or 5 years, they're building more and more restaurants. They don't want to work for anybody, they say, they're both partners. My daughter also, because she's got married, she lives in Dubai. And so she's also an author, she's written a book, and she's now writing a second book. So she comes in and helps her brother every month, and you know, I don't interfere at all in what they do. Whenever they need any help, largely when they need money, they come to me. And I help them. That is how I stumbled, that was my first stumbling into entrepreneurship, because I had to cough up money very often. When they wanted to buy when they wanted to open the second restaurant, I had to give them money. When they wanted a third restaurant, I had to give them money. So I started understanding, you know, this is what, you know, money and people are extremely important in entrepreneurship. You know, you should have enough money and you should have great people working for you. Luckily, they've been able to attract a bunch of people, and today they employ about 200 people across these restaurants. Maybe more, maybe about 250 people, and they are doing well. So that was my first foray, and then you know, about a couple of years ago, I retired. And like I said, I had planned for my retirement. I had kept aside a certain amount of money on which we could live decently, me and my wife. But several things happened at that time. Suddenly, you know, out of the woodworks, a lot of people approached me and says, "Tum ye bhi karo, tum ye bhi karo, tum ye bhi karo, tum ye bhi karo. Isme bhi paisa dalo, isme bhi dalo." And you know, all of them were friends. I've never done business with anybody who's not my friend. So I started building partnerships, and today I have 5 different partnerships. One is, you know, with a very talented guy who also was a director in Bennett Goldman and Company. You know, he came to me just after I retired, saying, "Ravi, I want to start a business." So I said, "Why do you want to start a business? You are doing so well. You will probably take over my job in 3-4 years' time. You know, this thing, and you are very handsomely paid. Why the hell do you want to start a business at the age of 45, 46 years old?" So he said, no, I've got this great idea. Remember what we did in Bennett Goldman? We helped, we've got a understanding of how to increase your pricing constantly. How do you maximize your revenues? It's an elaborate system, I won't bore you with that, but what we do is that we take all the past data that you have, transaction data that you have, we put it through an algorithm, we develop an algorithm, and then we use machine learning and artificial intelligence to help the salesman who's actually selling. So a salesman sells to a client. On the spot, when the salesman sells to a client, we give him a recommendation. इसको क्या बेचो, कितने में बेचो, इसका क्या margin मिलेगा, इसमें तुमको क्या मिलेगा. So we give him all this just before, so we prepare him to sell, and this is been very beneficial. So he came to me saying that I want to start the company which helps all companies maximize their revenue. So I tried to persuade him. He won't listen. So I said that if you want to start, okay, I'll be your partner. He said, no, you're not my partner. You are going to be an equal partner. So we both started this business, and we realized that we will require about 10-12 crore rupees a year of operating costs, because we realized that we needed to hire about 25-30 PhDs and mathematicians and engineers and all, and we didn't have that kind of money. He didn't have it, I didn't have it. So we went out to a friend of mine who heads Star India, And we told him that, we'll develop this for you. So we were lucky. They saw the value in what we were doing. They also showed it to all the leading consultants like McKinsey and Bain and BCG and etc. And they came back to us and said that we trust you. Here is the money for 5 years. Build this system for us, and also we want to take equity in your company. So they are a small partner in this business, and we are now developing a system for them. Again, Arnab runs the company. I'm just whenever he needs help, he calls me. I try to just clear the mind, clear the thinking, develop the strategy, and I do very little else. But I think it's a great journey, because over 2 years we've learned how to manage very, very talented individuals who are far better experts in what we are doing than we ever will be. They know the subject, and how do you manage them, how do you manage funding, how do you make sure that the ship keeps running. Is this something that we've learned? So that was the first venture. Immediately after retirement we started. 2 other friends of mine, one my ex-boss at Pepsi, a guy called Ramesh Pangal. He runs a Ayurveda business out of Bangalore. It's called Kerala Ayurveda. It's about a 100-year-old company. But he is an NRI, can't spend time on it. So he persuaded me that you come in and you become my vice chairman, and you run the company for me whenever I'm not there. So we have a chairman's office, he and I help run the company. And now we are raising substantial amount of money in that company, because we believe we have an idea. We have products now which are clinically tested. They are probably absolutely wonderful products for diabetes, for inflammation. And they perform as well as the best allopathic medicine. So we've tied up with Stanford University and others. So we believe that we have a business case, but we don't have the money. He also doesn't have. We require several hundred crores to be able to do this. So we are raising capital for that, and hopefully it will come. And I have a small. What I've said to my friends is that I have no money to put in, but I will help you, and in exchange I will take it. You have to give me equity in the company. So that's the model I work with. So I have some equity with Ramesh. There's another friends. We all 4 of us got together again. Same series of friends, and we started another company which does solar products. It makes solar lamps, solar home lighting system, solar fan, and we are now in the process of extending it. But it does require a fantastic amount of working capital, because most of our clients are government and they don't pay you for months on end. It requires 4 or 5 months of annual turnover as working capital. So we are in negotiation with the banks to see how they will fund us. We believe our products are probably the best that there are in the country, but they are more expensive. So we can't appeal to the masses, and we are trying to figure out what is the right way to go about doing that. And the last company I'm involved in is a company which is just about to launch a series of cooking oils. Now, we think we have an idea. This is again the same 4 friends who I've talked to. The idea came when we were holidaying in Australia at the last World Cup time. I'm a very avid cricket fan, so me and my wife had gone there. And we went around our plantation, and we went around our oil mill. And the oil that DD makes at his factory there is an outstanding quality oil. It is canola, but it's the purest oil that you can get. Why do I say it is the purest oil? Because he has only one of the 2 factories in the whole world which has a certification that every product of theirs is non-GM. There's only one other factory in Canada which can certify non-GM oil. Every oil that you use in India, everywhere in the world, is all genetically modified. So this is one. Second, he uses a process which is absolutely chemical free. It's all expelled. There is no solvent extraction, it's expelled. But much more importantly, he buys seeds only from an area which is 100 kilometers from his farm. His factory is in the midst, if you imagine Punjab 300 years ago, all green, green and yellow everywhere. His factory sits in the middle of it. It's surrounded by fields all over. This is the bread basket of Australia. So he sources fresh seeds from 100 kilometers. There is no irrigation system. It's all rain-fed. So it is and the air is pure. The place is absolutely pristine, fantastic. You go there, you feel like taking a deep breath. So so this oil is the freshest oil that you can get, and it is the purest oil that you can get. So we said that why don't we launch it in India? So we've come out with a program where we are launching 4 oils as we speak. In the next week, 10 days, it will be available all over the market. It's under the brand name called Vaga Vaga. Vaga Vaga is the place where the factory is, and the place where all this oil is grown. And when we did a lot of research, we studied this oil in great depth. We found that it is an oil which actually helps control diabetes, controls your blood sugar. And so we said that, wow, and all this has come about in the last 3-4 years. There have been a lot of clinical studies in America, in Canada, and even in India by Dr. Anup Mishra, who's a very, very famous diabetologist, where he's given us evidence that this oil on continuous usage helps the pancreas produce a little more insulin. It is not a medicine. You can't stop your medicine and use this oil, but it helps control your blood sugar. So we said, oh, we've got a great idea now. We position it as helps control blood sugar, but we also realized that just by selling one oil, no retailer is going to keep you. You need a bunch. Now, luckily, we have an olive orchard in Australia, so in the same area. So we brought in olive oil from there. Then we created a blend of olive and canola, which is a very, very good oil for your heart. It takes care of your heart and the metabolic syndrome. Again, there are a lot of clinical studies about it. So we're launching that. And 4th product that we're launching is a frying oil. It is an oil which is proven to have the lowest absorption. So if when you test it in puris or samosa or bhajia or vada or something, it absorbs the lowest amount of oil. It's a very, very healthy oil. So we are launching that in the market under the name Vaga Vaga. And I wish I had products to show you, but I would entreat you to at least try some of them. So that's been my journey. That's been my entrepreneurial journey, and it wouldn't have been possible but for a network of friends. I have never taken a financial risk myself, because I'm averse to it. I don't want to borrow money. All the money I have, I've kept aside for my retirement. So whatever I earn just now, I spend it on my lifestyle. And one day will come when I'll stop earning. And that is the time when I'll use the money for retirement. In the meantime, I'm working with friends and people who we are very, very comfortable with each other. We don't even ask, कि तूने ये क्यों किया? किया चलो ये so this is so it's like an extended game for us. It's like fun that we are doing. And 1 or 2 things I've said to myself is that I'm not going to bother to do this. Even if there is a great idea, I don't want tension in my life. I don't want to be beholden to anybody. I don't want an operating rule. So if somebody comes and tells me, you please run this and we'll give you this and we'll give you that, I don't want that. I've done that, I don't want to do that anymore. But I want to help people, so I'm also mentoring a few businesses. I'm on the board of a few businesses where I bring the consumer and the customer idea to them. And it is total by accident, totally because of my children, that I've stumbled into entrepreneurship, because I had to find them. And I had to make sure that they stood on their feet. And that's how I went into entrepreneurship. But the interesting thing is that I enjoyed it honestly. I don't think I've had more fun in the last 2 years that I've been independent than I've had throughout my career. And it's each problem is different. It's very, very interesting. And I'm working with people I enjoy and respect, and they know me inside out. These are all family friends. And We've never had an issue about either money or about position or about power, because these egos, these things come in the way of business. So we've never had that touch point. And I hope that I can continue this for the next few years and call it off after that. So that's been my journey. And I'd be happy to answer any questions in whatever time is left. Please.
I just had one question. So, a company which has developed through AI a system for guiding the salespeople on what the customer actually wants and what product should you pitch to it. Can you name the company so that I can have a look at the product?
Yeah, it's not. It's still under development. The company is called Sagacito.
Okay, this one.
Yeah, this one, Sagacito. So that's the name of the company, and what it does, it uses data to analyze the behavior of the customer. It creates many variables. It develops coefficients of fit of many 12, 13 variables, figures out which are the variables which are really important to that customer, and then churns out a price that you should charge him, and churns out the products that you should sell to him.
But that must be for an existing customer, not for a prospective one. Because for a prospective one, you can't get your own data.
Absolutely.
And access anyone else's finances. Like.
Absolutely right. It is for customers whose data you can analyze. But having said that, customers fall into a cluster. They exhibit similar behavior, not same behavior, but similar behavior. So if I develop if I develop some model which is stable for 300 customers, the 301st customer is also likely to behave that way. So we use that as a starting point with the customer. The pricing and what to sell as a starting point.
Thank you.
Yes.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
I'm Anil Bhatta from Torchbearers, PNI Noida. My question is, see, your journey of entrepreneurship seems to be kind of a journey where you came into the scene or onto the scene a little later. Where would you be in the entrepreneurial journey if you were not worked with all these multinationals, got these exposures and got these connections? How would your journey have been?
I think I would have. I don't think I would have succeeded. I don't know. To me, a burning desire to build something or make a lot of money or do something was never there. I never had a burning desire to succeed very much or to have a lot of money or to build something. Never had that. So if you don't have that, but you want to do well, you want to help, you want to use the best talent that you have, the best potential that you have. My professional life prepared me for what I'm doing. I think that was invaluable. I learned how to deal with people. I learned how to value people. I learned how to select the right people. I learned how to build them into a team environment. I learned how to generate a return on capital. I learned how do you really make money. What are the 2 or 3 things which are absolutely critical in your ability to make money? That these companies taught me. So now I can look at a business and I can say, okay, these are the 3 things that we need to do in order to make money.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
Yes.
So, in the last 2 years, the way you're saying that you have, I think I'm audible?
Yeah, you are. Either Anand.
Yeah, my name is Kamal Gulati. I am part of Congress. So I wanted to ask you that in the last 2 years, you have stumbled upon these 5, 6 organizations whom you have mentored or whom you are supporting. So how do you see that which kind of persons to mentor or which kind of partners to take do you? Because what I'm saying is, if I were to really partner with different persons, I have failed there, and so I just wanted to ask, understand what have been your principle or your.
I think I look for even in my friends, we look for complementary skills which I don't have and they would have, or complementary personalities, because no one person is complete by themselves. So almost the first thing I would look for is that is he Has he got something different? For example, all my friend, this Didi Saxena is, he can charm a banker into giving him the keys to the vault. He's also got so much of energy. He's constantly on his feet. He's 2 years older than me. He runs around like a chicken everywhere. So he has complementary skills. I would dare not even ask a rupee of anybody. But he has no problem in running after banks to fund his business. Similarly, Abhiram understands product like nobody I've seen. He understands agriculture, he understands product. Even today, if Mr. Sharad Pawar has any advice to seek, he will call up Abhiram Seth and ask him, Abhiram, kya karna chahiye? He's that good at agriculture. And he used to run our seaweed business. So I always try and surround, I always think that people like me, I understand my business. I understand how do you build, how do you market, how do you sell, how do you make money out of that. That I understand. I don't think I need another person like me in the team, but I need other people who will be able to do that. So I look for complementarity. So even people I mentor they're very young people, but they need to be honest, they need to be transparent, and they need to so that means they need to confide in me fully, saying this is the real situation, and they need to be different from what I am. So that's what I look for. Have I answered your question, or I've wandered on?
Yeah, I think I answered.
Last question, please. After that question, please have questions offline. We are getting late for this. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was very, very good. I don't think the mic is working.
Closer.
Hello, thank you. My name is Abhilasha, and I have actually two questions. Have you had a mentor in your life, and what are the books you can recommend that have helped you in your journey?
No, that's a fantastic question. I overlooked talking about it. But, I was very, very, very fortunate when I joined Hindustan Lever. It had very talented people. And there were three people, I would say, who taught me everything that I know. There was a guy called Shunu Sen, who used to be he was the marketing director of Hindustan Lever. He was my direct boss, and he taught me everything I know about marketing. There was another guy called Pradeep Dutt, who was the head of our business, our personal care business. This is when I launched Fair and Lovely in the country. He used to come in at 9 o'clock, walk out at 5, not 1 minute wasted, but not 1 minute after 5. Whatever happened, he said, "Aur baat kariye ghar pe aa jana, we'll have a drink together and we'll talk about things, but no more." So he taught me something. He taught me how to be efficient, how to really come to the point immediately. And there was a third guy called Suman Sinha, who retired as the head of Pepsi some years ago. And Suman was the most passionate business manager you can see. He taught me that the business is you are the business. A business तुम्हारे लिए है, तुम उसके लिए नहीं हो, तुम्हारे लिए है. So you run it as if it is your business. Don't worry about hierarchy, don't worry about structures, this is your business. तुम चलाओ उसको. So that brought in there, I think that fueled the entrepreneurial spirit. Okay. Thank you. I had some advertising to show you, but we are out of time. So you see it whenever you can.
That was simply fantastic. So much of practical experience in that 40-minute capsule. Thank you so much, Mr. Ravi Dharwal, for this stimulating dose. We would now like Amit to please come up and felicitate Mr. Harish Juneja, Secretary NEA. Can we have Mr. Juneja on stage, please? Honorable some fiber for the body. And by the way, we have this promotion about earn while you learn. An interesting punctuation here, ladies and gentlemen. Members have very fondly contributed certain gifts to be given to the attendants as part of the lucky draw. We have lamps, laptop bags, hampers, artifacts, idols, stroller bags, sunglasses, gym vouchers, hi-fi speakers, hotel resort stays, and so on. So we shall be holding various lucky draws running at various intervals throughout the day. So here's the first one. Are we all ready?
Yes.
Has everybody put their cards?
Yes. Alright, so 30 seconds and we count
30
down.
seconds and everybody
All
put
the
their cards.
STs take mind the 30 seconds. 30 seconds, alright. 30 seconds. One card here, बड़े चोर लोग हैं भाई भाई. एक कार्ड डालना है.
Saloni.
डाल चुके दोबारा मैं डालूं.
Yeah, of course everyone has to put.
There.
जिसका दूसरी बार निकलेगा उसको नहीं मिलेगा दूसरी बार. सब नहीं डालें दो. तो मैंने तो निकालना है. All right.
Ready?
Yeah, we ready? Okay, so chapters. The first chapter that makes the maximum noise, that's where I come. So, can we hear for Olympus? Yeah! Alright, torchbearers? Yeah! Olympus, एक बार? Yeah! Conquerors? Yeah! Louder. Hercules? Yeah! Alright, the youngest brother gets this one. Alright. Shall I?
Okay, yeah, the first gift is the Pyramid Yantra, sponsored by Dr. Smita Gupta from Vastu Consultant.
Pavan Dikshit, insurance advisor.
Sir, please. All right, so who was the second loudest? Conquerors? Where are Conquerors? Arey, sir, मैं किस second? All right, there you go. बिना देखे, नहीं करना.
Okay.
It's Ranjana Bhargava.
So this one,
Ma'am, up on stage, please.
can I let you all know what the gift is? Can I let you all know what the gift is?
Who are we?
Okay, so this is a sponsor by Mr. Sandeep Channa from Ambience Air Tech. This is servicing of 3 of your ACs.
Super needful. All right, torchbearers. I see you spread out. So मैं पीछे जाता हूँ. Backbenchers को तो आपको skip कर दिया. All right. बिना देखे.
Ajay Kumar Rana.
So the summer heat is really getting on, and this is a gift sponsored by Mr. Mayank Gupta. 2-night stay at Mountain Trail Muteshwar.
You have to stand here, sir. Just hold down.
All right.
It's coming your way, please.
Hold down.
Okay. Doctor Saab. बिना कुछ देखे.
Look for somebody who needs to be fit.
Ashish. We agree.
You get 1 week gym free by Mr. Ankur Arora of La Fitness.
Do we have more? Yes. We have more? All right, coming back at you again. Let's do this again. All right. Hey, improve on.
Arora.
There you go.
get a gift sponsored by Mr. Tushar Diwan of Monica Estate. This is Ganesha's.
Right, can you pull this out?
Continue.
Mr. Dr. Atul Nishchal.
Where is Dr. Atul Nishchal?
He's here.
Wait. Dr. Nishchal, you get a voucher for one night stay at a wildlife resort which has been sponsored by Mr. Mohit Agarwal of Asian Adventure. So the holiday season is on, the heat is on, yes, there are more coming.
All right, okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
अभिषेक शेख का ये कितना स्कूल वाला जोक मारा है
Silver box.
Oh, one of the directors we pulled out.
Anjali Chaudhary.
Sponsored by Colonel Sudeep Prem of Navyog. Round of applause, please. Continue, Abhishek. The party is still on.
This is Amit Thusu.
At Mascot, which has been sponsored by Mr. Nitin Hasim of Mascot Hospitality.
Har Maidan Fateh! Hercules is the way!
Continue, Abhishek.
Ryan Khan. Ryan Khan.
Which has been sponsored by Mr. Tarun Aneja of Aneja Printers.
Wow.
Continue, Abhishek. I won't ask you to stop.
Shake for the conquerors. Shake for the conquerors.
Good sir.
Get an artifact.
ये बाय चांस हो रहा है कि ओलंपस वालों का निकाल रहा है मैं बता रहा हूँ बाय चांस हो रहा है
Gets an artifact by Mr. Manish Gupta of Center for Arc and Interiors.
Oh, nice.
And we have 2 more gym vouchers, 1 week membership free. Please pick up the chits.
Mr. Floyd Associates. Atul Floyd.
Everybody will be going home with something for the other. So can you please come on stage because we have 2 more coming up.
2 more?
3 more. Continue. Continue.
Sir.
It's Mr. Ankur Arora.
Ankur gets 2 nights stay at Mountain Trail.
Wow.
By man Gupta. Continue.
Swati Sinha.
Swati.
Swati Sinha.
Where is Swati? Okay, so you get 1 week gym membership voucher, and the last one after this, Abhishek. Congratulations.
No problem. Mr. MP, no problem.
Mahinderji, you get 1 night stay free at a wildlife resort. So ladies and gentlemen, it's time for a first break of the day, a tea break, which is going to be there for exactly 30 minutes.